No words pass between them now, just hunger raw and years in the making. He steps close, his control at hands, veins taut from restraint that's defined every calculated move of his life, finally cup her face. Dark skin against his pale grip, the contrast stark as fate's cruelest art. Their lips crash together, not tender but devouring. Tongues battle for dominance, tasting secrets and sin neither has confessed. She claws his shirt open, nails raking olive skin marked by scars that tell family stories he's never shared. Hegral's low, Korean curses mixing with her soft gasps as he lifts her against the bookshop wall. Books tumble from shelves, forgotten casualties of want too long denied. Her thighs wrap his waist, dress hiking up as his fingers trace the curve of her full hips, gripping like he owns Thurowins he made. He enters her slow at first, thick and deliberate, eyes locked on hers with no mercy in the stretch. Her walls clench around him in angry surrender. You stayed, he breathes against her mouth, thrusting deep. His hips snap with pent-up control finally cracking, sweat beads on her ebony curves, breasts heaving as she arches, moaning his real name like both curse and prayer. Joon Seo. They move like it's atonement written in flesh. Her riding him on the floor, grinding fierce, nails drawing blood on his chest. Him flipping her, pounding from behind, hand fisting her braids, pulling just enough to arch her back into the shape of surrender neither will speak aloud. Orgasms rip through them. Her shuddering soaking him. His spilling hot inside, marking what's already broken between them. No love whispers follow, just ragged breaths, bodies slick with effort and consequence, collapsing in the wreckage they've built together. The aftermath settles heavy. His forehead rests against her shoulder blade, breath still rough. Her fingers grip the hardwood floor, nails catching on grain and dust. The bookshop smells of paper, old wood, and naughtum, sex and sweat and choices that can't be unmade. We shouldn't have, she says, voice hoarse. No, his agreement comes quiet, certain. He doesn't move away. She turns her head, finds his eyes in the dim light from the street lamp outside. But we did! The single word hangs between them, weighted with everything unsaid. He pulls back finally, carefully, and thesaper it with the kind of physical awareness that makes the space between them feel like another kind off-touching. She adjusts her dress, finds her underwear discarded near a fallen copy of Kierkegaard. He buttons she's shirt with those controlled hands, hiding the scratches she's left. 3 months, she says, standing now, legs still unsteady. 3 months you've been coming here. Longer than that. He tucks his shirt in, every movement precise despite what just happened. I walked past Fortwo weeks before I came inside, watching. Yes, she should feel violated by that admission. Instead, she feels the confirmation of what she's known all along, that whatever this is between them has been building since before either acknowledged it. You never told me your name. You never asked. I knew it anyway. She crosses to the counter, pulls out the small velvet box she found wedged behind a shelf 3 weeks ago, opens it. The cufflink inside bears a crest she recognized immediately, falcon and thorns. Rendered in silver and black enamel, Thorn Industries, one of the largest conglomerates in Asia. You drapethes. His expression doesn't change, but something in his posture shifts. When, week 7, you were reading Nietzsche, it fell from your sleeve when you reached for a book on the top shelf. You kept it. I researched it first. She sets the box on the counter between them. Thorn Industries, founded by 3 partners in 1978. 2 were pushed out in a hostile takeover in 2003. One off them was my grandfather, Quame Reyes. Now his face does change. Shock, recognition, something that might be respect or might be dread flickers across his features. Amara Reyes. You know the name. I know the file. Your grandfather died 6 months after the takeover. Heart attack brought on by stress. Your grandmother followed 2 years later. Your father tried to sue, spent everything on legal fees, lost anyway. He pauses. You disappeared after that. Corporate analyst at 3 different firms, then nothing. I assumed you'd left the country. You assumed wrong. She keeps her voice level. I stayed, changed jobs, became invisible, watched. Watched what? Your family. She meets his eyes. The Thorns, specifically the 2 brothers fighting for control, the older Roan ruthless and public, the younger one, she stops, lets the silence finish the sentence. The one who signed the final papers that made the takeover permanent, he says, and there's no inflection in Hai's voice, no plea for understanding, just fact. I was 22. My brother was going to dismantle everything, sell it in pieces. I thought I was choosing the lesser evil. And my grandfather still died. The acknowledgement sits between them, heavy as bodies, as broken as the distance they've just collapsed. Amara feels something in her chest crack and resettle, sharp and permanent. The alias. Asks, why come here pretending to be someone else? Because being Kang Joon Seo means everyone wants something. Information, access, favor, blood. He picks up the cufflink, studies it like he's seeing it for the first time. I needed to know if anyone was watching, if my brother had sent someone to find leverage, if I was as isolated as I suspected. The only one who noticed. 3 months, and you're the only person who saw past the clothes and the routine. He pockets the cufflink. That's why I kept coming back, not just to watch you, to see if you'd figure I'd out. I did, 3 weeks ago. You stayed quiet. Yes. Now it's her turn for honesty, sharp and cutting. Because I wanted to see who you'd be without the name, without the power, if the man who came here twice a week was different from the one who signed those papers. She crosses her arms. And because I wanted leverage before I showed my hand. His laugh is brief, humorless. We're the same, then. Both liars, both using each other. The word echoes the one he gave her earlier, and the symmetry feels deliberate. They stand in the wreckage off crossed lines and broken boundaries, two people who have been orbiting each other's damage for months, finally colliding. What now? He asks. I don't know. Amara looks around the bookshop, her refuge, her hiding place, now contaminated by honesty and hunger. You should leave. Should I? You should. He doesn't move. If I do, will you be here Friday? The question is a trap and they both know it. If she says no, it's over. This careful dance, this dangerous attraction, all of it ends. If she says yes, they're choosing to keep lying, to keep pretending this can exist without consequences. I don't know, she says again, and it's the most honest answer she has. He nods once, accepts this. Moves toward the door, then stops, turns back. For what it's worth, I am sorry about your grandfather, about the choice I made. I've lived with it every day since. Sorry doesn't rebuild what you destroyed. It doesn't. He opens the door, the chime ringing soft and ordinary. But maybe understanding why Westade, why we chose this, that might mean something. Then he's gone, and Amara is alone with fallen books and the smell of sex and the cufflink box still open on the counter. She locks the door, flips the sign to closed, and slides down to sit on the floor where they just were. Her body still feels him, will probably feel him for days. Her mind keeps replaying his words, his confession. The weight didn't flinch from her accusations. 3 weeks ago, she found the cufflink and made a choice. Not to confront him immediately, not to walk away, but to wait, to watch, to see if the man without his name would reveal something true. And he had, in ways she hadn't expected. The careful routine, the restraint, the way he read philosophy like he was looking for answer-stone questions he couldn't speak aloud. But he'd also been watching her, testing her, using their encounters for his own purposes. They'd been playing the same game from opposite sides, each thinking they had the advantage. Now the game has changed. Now they both know who the other is, what they want, what they've done. Anthe both stayed anyway, chose this collision despite knowing exactly what it would cost. Amara pulls herself up, starts gathering the fallen books. Her hands shake slightly, not from fear she's not afraid of Joon Seo or what he represents, but from the recognition that she wants him anyway. Wants him despite the history, maybe because of it. Wants to see if two people stained by the same choices can find something honest in the damage. It's a terrible idea. The worst she's had in years. She's probably going to do it anyway. The week passes in slow motion. Tuesday comes and goes, no Joon Seo. Wednesday, a text arrives from an unknown number, just coordinates and a time. Thursday, she spends 3 hours staring at her phone, debating. Friday morning, she makes her decision. The address leads to a penthouse in the financial district, all glass and steel and views that cost more than most people earn in a lifetime. Amara stands in the lobby, dressed in simple black, feeling the weight of choice pressed on her shoulders. She could leave. Should leave, walk away before this becomes something she can't control. Instead, she takes the elevator to the 47th floor. Joon Seo opens the door before she knocks. He's in casual clothes, black pants, white shirt rolled to high elbows. The scratches she left are visible on his forearms, faded but present. Evidence. You came, he says. I shouldn't have. He steps aside, lets her enter. The apartment is minimalist, expensive, and strangely impersonal. Like a hotel room where someone's been living for years without actually inhabiting it. But you did. She walks to the windows, looks out at the city spread below them. From this height, everything seems manageable, controllable, a lie of perspective. Why did you send the address? Because I'm tired of pretending. He moves to stand beside her, not touching but close enough that she feels she's presence like heat. I've spent 5 years maintaining the alias, watching my brother consolidate power, gathering evidence of his illegal dealings while playing the compliant heir. I'm exhausted. Then stop. It's not that simple. If I move now without enough proof, he'll destroy everything. The company, the employees, the remaining partners. He's built a network of corruption that reaches into 3 governments. I need time. Me, where do I fit in this? He turns to face her fully. Honestly, I don't know. This, he gestures between them, wasn't part of atonement. You were supposed to be reconnaissance, a test to see if I was being watched. Then you became something else. What? Someone who sees me. Not the name, not the power, me. He pauses. And someone I've wronged. Someone who has every right to hate me and chose to stay anyway. I don't know what to do with that. Amara feels the truth of his words settle into her bones. She should hate him. Does hate him, in some ways. Hates what he represents, what he cost her family. But she also sees the man who spent 3 months reading philosophy in a bookshop, who moves with careful control like he's afraid of his own strength, who just admitted exhaustion like it's a confession. I stayed because I needed to know if change was possible, she says quietly. If someone who made a terrible choice at 22 could become someone different, if guilt could lead to something other than more damage. And I don't know yet. She meets his eyes. But I'm here, that should tell you something. Air between them charges again, that same electricity from the bookshop, but different now, heavier with knowledge, sharper with consequence. He reaches out slowly, gives her time to move away. When she doesn't, his fingers brush her jaw, trace the line of her cheek. This is a mistake, he says, probably. My brother has people watching me. If they see you, they'll use you. Been invisible for 2 years, I can stay that way. If you're with me. She considers this, the weight of visibility, the risk of being known. Then she steps closer, eliminating the space between them. Maybe I'm tired of hiding too. His kiss is different this time, slower, more deliberate, layered with everything they've said and everything they haven't. She tastes intention in it, question and answer at once. Her hands find his chest, feel his heart beating hard and fast beneath her palm. Proof of effect, of risk, of choice. They move to the bedroom without discussion, shedding clothes in a trail of deliberate vulnerability. His body alien, controlled, marked with scars she wants to catalog and understand. Hers is curves and strength, dark skin traces like he's memorizing terrain. They come together on sheets that smell like cedar and intention. Anthai's time, it's not just hunger. This time it's conversation conducted in touch and breath, and the way their bodies fit together like broken pieces from the same origin. He moves inside her with a rhythm that feels like truth, steady, relentless, patient. She meets him with equal force, equal need, equal acknowledgement of what this means. Afterward, they lie tangled in expensive sheets, windows dark with night. His fingers trace patterns on her shoulder. She watches the city lights reflect off the ceiling. Tell me about your brother, she says. He's quiet for a long moment. Junwoo is 3 years older, brilliant, charismatic, and completely without conscience. He saw the company as a tool, something to extract maximum value from before discarding. When her father had his stroke, Junwoo moved immediately to consolidate power. I was 22, still in university. He presented me with a choice: sign the papers that would give me nominal control while he managed operations, or watch him sell everything to foreign investors and destroy 2,000 jobs. So you signed. I signed, including the papers that finalized the Ray's takeover. Your grandfather's shares were the last obstacle. Junwoo had already arranged the pressure tactics, the legal maneuvers. I just made it official. Hishend stills on her skin. I told myself I was choosing the lesser evil. That I could fix it later once I understood the company better, that your grandfather would have lost anyway. Would have, Amara admits, the words bitter. My grandmother showed me the files before she died. The legal case was unwinnable, but the speed of it, the finality, that's what killed him. Not losing, but losing saw completely that there was no path forward. I know, I've read the medical reports, the autopsy. He pulls back slightly, needs to see her face. I've tried to make restitution. Anonymous payments to your family's legal funds, investments in companies your grandfather supported. It's not enough. It will never be enough. It won't. She props herself up on one elbow. But it's more than nothing, more than most would do. That's a low bar. It's the only one we have. They fall silent again, the weight of history pressing down on the bed between them. Outside, the city continues its indifferent rhythm. Inside, 2 people marked by the same corporate violence try to find a shape for what they're becoming, My brother knows about you, Joon Seo says finally. Not your identity yet, but that I've been spending time with someone. He had me followed 3 weeks ago. Amara's pulse kicks. I lost them. I'm good at that disappearing, misdirecting. It's how I've survived this long. He turns to face her fully. But he's suspicious now. If he finds out who you are, he'll use it. He'll threaten you to control me. Then we're careful. Careful won't be enough eventually. Then we're smart about timing. You said you're gathering evidence. How long until you have enough? 3 months, maybe 4. I need paper trails that connect him to the money laundering, the bribery, the illegal acquisitions. Right now I have pieces. I need the full picture. Amara's mind shifts into analyst mode, the skills she spent years hunting clicking into place. What kind of pieces? He studies her, and she can see him weighing risk against opportunity. Then he makes a choice. Bank transfers to offshore accounts. Emails that imply but don't confirm illegal activity. Recorded conversations that need context. I need access to his private servers, but he's locked them down. Only his personal assistant hastes codes, and she's loyal to the point of fanaticism. What's her weakness? She doesn't have one. She's been with him for 7 years ever since. He stops, and something shifts in Hai's expression. Since he forced out the previous assistant, a woman named Helen Kim. What happened to her? She found something she shouldn't have. Evidence of my brother's affair with a board member's wife. He paid her off, had her sign an NDA, and she disappeared. Moved to Singapore, last I heard. Amara sits up fully now, mind working through possibilities. Did she take anything with her? Copies, backups? I don't know, I never thought to look. Why? Because someone with 7 years of access doesn't just leave. She was forced out, which means she was a threat. And threats usually protect themselves with leverage. She can see understanding dawn on his face. You think she kept evidence? I think it's worth finding out. They spend the next hour planning, strategizing, falling into a rhythm that feels both dangerous and right. Her analytical skills, his insider knowledge, his resources, her invisibility. 2 people built by damage learning to move in sync. By the time she leaves the penthouse at 3 in the morning, they have the outline of a plan. By the time Cher reaches her apartment, she's questioning every choice that brought her here. By the time she falls into restless Alep, she's committed anyway. The next 6 weeks blur into careful routine and hidden meetings. Joon Seo maintains his public role, the compliant younger brother, the reliable heir, the man who signs what he's told to sign. Privately, he tracks his brother's movements, copies files when opportunities arise, builds the case piece by patient piece. Amara returns to her bookshop, but adds new work, research, digital tracking, old-fashioned detective work. That her analyst training makes second nature. She finds Helen Kim living in a Singapore suburb, running a small consulting firm, makes contact through careful, anonymous channels, builds trust over encrypted emails. They meet in person only twice, once at the bookshop after hours, once at a hotel outside the city. Sex becomes another language between them, urgent and deliberate, a physical reminder that they're real, present, choosing this despite everything. They don't speak of futures or promises. Only the immediate, the necessary, the dangerous present. Then Junwoo makes his move. The text comes at 11 on a Tuesday, not from Joon Seo, from an unknown number, just an address and a threat. Come alone or the bookshop burns. Amara stares at her phone, ice sliding through her veins. She calls Joon Seo immediately. Don't go, he says, voice tight with controlled fear. It's a trap. He wants to leverage you against me. If I don't, he destroys my business. Handle it. I'll pay him off, threaten him back, something. No. Her decision crystallizes instantly, clear and certain. This only works if we confront it directly. If I hide now, he wins. He knows I'm your weakness, and he'll use that forever. Amara, I'm going. Are you coming with me or not? The silence stretches for 3 seconds. Then, I'm coming, but we do this my way. Address leads to a construction site on the city's edge, half-built steel bones reaching toward a gray sky. Junwoo waits in the center, surrounded by 3 men in dark suits. Security probably armed. The whole setup screams intimidation. Joon Seo arrives first, parks his car deliberately in the open. Amara follows 5 minutes later as planned. They approach from different directions, meet in the middle like this was coincidence. Junwoo smiles. It doesn't reach his eyes. Brother and the mysterious bookshop owner, how convenient. What do you want? Joon Seo's voice is flat, controlled. Honestly. I want to understand. Junwoo circles them slowly, predatory and performative at once. You've been careful, Joon Seo, very careful. No public relationships, no obvious attachments. Then suddenly you're revisiting the same bookshop twice a week for months. Interesting pattern. I like books. You like something. His eyes slide to Amara, assess and dismiss in one look. Her, apparently, quite the coincidence that she happens to be Quame Ray's granddaughter. Name lands like a stone in water, ripples spreading. Joon Seo doesn't react, but Amara can feel his tension ratchet up. Their plan just collapsed. So you know, she says, keeping her voice level. Know everything. I make it my business to know. Junwoo stops circling, faces them both. The question is, what are we going to do about it? Because this, he gestures between them, is a problem, a liability, and I don't allow liabilities to continue. It has nothing to do with the company, Joon Seo says. No, then why the secrecy? Why the alias, the careful routine, the hidden meetings? Junwoo pulls out his phone, swipes through images. I have photos, dates, times, a very compelling pattern of behavior from my supposedly loyal brother. I am loyal. Because it looks to me like you're building something. A relationship with the granddaughter of a man we destroyed. That suggests either stupidity or strategy, and you're not stupid. Accusation hangs in the air, sharp and accurate. Amara feels the plan shift, realign. They prepared for threats, for intimidation. Not for this level of knowledge, this degree of certainty. What do you want? She asks, drawing Junwoo's attention to her. He seems pleased by the question. Direct, I appreciate that. What I want is simple. I want my brother to sign papers transferring his shares to me. Full control, no more pretense of partnership. If he doesn't, then I release these photos along with a very detailed story about corporate espionage, family betrayal, and inappropriate relationships with the families of ruined business partners. Joon Seo loses his position, his reputation, and quite possibly his freedom. You lose your bookshop and any hope of anonymity. He pauses. Oh, and I follow through on my original plan, a hostile acquisition of Chen Technologies. Small firm, family-owned, currently operating on thin margins. Not entirely unlike your grandfather's company, actually, his story repeating itself. The threat is elegant in its cruelty. Junwoo isn't just attacking them, he's forcing Joon Seo to choose between protecting Amara and allowing another family to suffer the same fate as the Rays. It's the original choice remade, refined, sharpened to a point. Bluffing about Chen Tech, Joon Seo says, but there's uncertainty in his voice. Am I? The papers are already drawn up. All I need is your signature on the transfer documents. Once I have full control, I can move however I want. Or, Junwoo's smile sharpens. You can refuse and I start the process anyway. Either way, I win. Amara watches Joon Seo's face, sees the calculation happening behind his eyes. He's weighing options, measuring costs, trying to find the angle that minimizes damage. It's the same look he probably wore at 22, staring at papers that would seal her grandfather's fate. This is the moment. The test, the place where everything they've built either solidifies or shatters. No, Joon Seo says, and his voice is clear, certain, final. Junwoo blinks. Excuse me? No, I won't sign, I won't give you control, and I won't let you repeat what we did to the Ray's family. He pulls an envelope from his jacket, holds it up. Because I have evidence. Bank transfers, emails, recorded conversations, everything you've done for the past 5 years. Your affairs, your bribes, your illegal acquisitions. All documented, all verified, all ready to be released to the authorities. Construction site goes very quiet. Even the security guards shift uncomfortably. Junwoo's expression hardens. You're lying. I'm not. Helen Kim kept very detailed records. Turns out forcing out a loyal assistant creates motivation for revenge. She gave me everything. Joon Seo's hand is steady, holding the envelope like a weapon. You release those photos, I release these files, your choice. For 5 seconds, nothing happens. Then Junwoo lunges forward, hand outstretched for the envelope. One of. The guards moves to intercept, but Joon Seo is faster. He tosses the envelope to Amara, who catches it and steps back. This is over, Joon Seo says. You're done threatening people, done destroying companies for profit, done pretending you're building something while you're just burning everything down. Your brother. You were my brother. Now you're just a problem I'm going to solve. Words land with finality. Junwoo's face twists, fury and disbelief warring for dominance. Then he turns Tohai's guards. Get the envelope. They move forward. Joon Seo steps in front of Amara, blocking. The situation teeters on the edge of violence, then Amara's phone rings. She answers it without taking her eyes off the guards. Yes, Helen Kim's voice comes through clear. Files are uploaded, all major news outlets, financial regulators, and the police department. It's public now. Amara ends the call, looks at Junwoo. Too late. It's already out. She can see the moment he understands. The realization that he's lost, that his brother was 3 steps ahead, that the envelope in her hands is probably empty or a decoy. His face goes through shock, rage, calculation, then settles into something cold and resigned. Destroyed the company, he says flatly. No, Joon Seo corrects. You did that. I'm just making sure everyone knows. Police arrive 20 minutes later, led by financial crimes investigators who have been waiting for exactly Theisvidence. Junwoo is arrested quietly, efficiently, his security guards standing aside without protest. The company will fracture, the board will scramble, the stock price will plummet. Everything Joon Seo has spent 5 years protecting is gone. He and Amara stand in the empty construction site afterward, watching the sun set through steel bones. His hands shake slightly, the only sign of strain. You planned this, she says quietly. This exactly, but something like it. I knew he'd make a move eventually, knew he'd try to use you. He turns to face her. I'm sorry you were exposed like that. Sorry he knows who you are now. It doesn't matter anymore, he's done. But so am I, he gestures vaguely at the city. The company will collapse without leadership. Thousands off jobs, pensions, investments, all gone. I chose integrity over stability, and a lot of people will pay the price. Amara hears the weight in his voice, the same guilt that's driven him for 5 years now, compounded by new chases, new consequences. You had to. Another family would have been destroyed if you didn't. I know. That doesn't make it easier. They stand in silence, 2 people who have just burned down everything around them to maintain one principle. It should feel triumphant. Instead, it feels exhausting. What now? She asks, echoing the question from months ago. Now I face the board. Cooperate with investigators. Try to stabilize what's left. He looks at her directly. And I don't ask you to stay through that. You've already sacrificed enough. She could leave, should leave, probably. Walk away from this man and his ruined empire, go back to her quiet bookshop, rebuild the invisibility she's lost. It would be smart, safe, the rational choice. Instead, she takes his hand. I'll stay, not because you need me to, because I choose to. His fingers tighten around hers. Why? Because you chose right. Finally, after 5 years of complicity and guilt, you chose to stop the cycle. That matters. It doesn't undo the past. Nothing can. But maybe, she pauses, searching for words that feel true. Maybe we don't need to undo it. Maybe we just need to live with it honestly, build something new in the wreckage. He pulls her close, presses his forehead to hers. That sounds impossible. Probably is. You're choosing it anyway. The kiss is soft this time, gentle in a way they haven't been before. Like they're learning a new language, one built on truth instead of hunger. When they pull apart, the city lights are flickering on around them, ordinary and indifferent to the small catastrophes of human connection. The next 3 months are brutal. Junwoo's trial unfolds publicly, exposing decades of corruption. The company fractures, some divisions sold, others dissolved, thousands laid off despite Joon Seo's efforts to find alternatives. He testifies, cooperates, takes full responsibility for his role in the Ray's takeover and every other decision he made. The media coverage is relentless. Photos of him and Amara surface, their relationship dissected and judged. She closes the bookshop temporarily, exhausted by the attention. He loses his position on the board, his shares placed in a trust for former employees. They don't live together during this period. Amara insists on space, not distance, but breathing room. She needs to know she's choosing him without the pressure of circumstance, without the intensity of crisis forcing them together. He respects this, even though she can see it costs him. They meet twice a week at a different cafe each time, careful and deliberate. Talk about the trial, the company, the future that feels uncertain and precarious. Sometimes they go days without speaking, giving each other room to process independently. It's during one of these quiet periods that Amara makes a decision. She contacts the remaining Ray's family members, cousins, aunts, distant relatives who lost everything in the takeover. Proposes a foundation, funded by the settlement money Joon Seo has secured from the company's remaining assets. Not charity, restitution. A way to rebuild what was taken, slowly and honestly. Some refuse. The wounds are too deep, the anger too righteous. Others agree cautiously, willing to see if change is possible. It's messy, imperfect, fraught with tension and old pain. But it's something. A start. Joon Seo works in parallel, trying to transfer portions of Thorn Industries to companies his brother ruined. Note all of them want it. Some refuse on principle. Others accept, wary but willing. He spends his days in legal meetings and negotiations, trying to untangle decades of damage. They're both exhausted, both uncertain, both stubbornly committed to doing the work anyway. 4 months after the confrontation, Amara reopens the bookshop. It's small, deliberate, hers in a way it wasn't before. Joon Seo doesn't come to the opening. They agreed he shouldn't. The media attention would overwhelm everything. But he sends flowers with a note. "For new beginnings, if you'll allow them," she calls him that night. "I got your flowers." "Much? No, just right." She pauses. "I've been thinking." "That sounds dangerous." She laughs, short and genuine. "Maybe I've been thinking about forgiveness. About whether it's something we earn or something we just choose. And I realized I don't know if I forgive you. I'm not sure I ever will completely. The damage is too real." He's quiet on the other end. "Then I understand." "But," she continues, "I also realized forgiveness might not be the point. Maybe the point is choosing to move forward anyway, with full knowledge, full accountability, and full commitment to doing better. That's harder than forgiveness." "It is." She looks around her empty bookshop at the shelves she's rebuilt. "Are you willing to do harder?" "With you? Yes." "Then come over, not tonight, not tomorrow, but when you're ready. When you've done the work you need to do, come over and we'll see what we can build." Promises? No promises, just presence, just truth. "That's enough," he says, and she can hear the truth in it. 3 weeks later, he appears at her door. No flowers this time, no grand gesture. Just him standing in the rain with the careful posture she's come to recognize as his version of vulnerability. "Ready," he says. "Or as ready as I'll ever be." She steps aside, lets him in. They're both soaked within seconds, water dripping onto her hardwood floors. Neither moves to dry off immediately. They just stand there, looking at each other with full knowledge of what they have cost each other and what they've chosen anyway. "This won't be easy," she says. "Nothing about us has been. I can't promise we'll work. Can't promise I won't wake up one day and decide the weight is too much. I know. I want to try. Want to see if two people marked by the same damage can build something honest." He steps closer, careful and deliberate. "So do I." The kiss is different from all the others, not hunger, not confession, not even comfort, just presence, just two people standing in wreckage they've made together, choosing to stay anyway. They spend that night talking, not touching, laying out boundaries, expectations, fears. She tells him about the nightmares she still has, about her grandfather's face in old photos, about the anger that surfaces unexpectedly. He tells her about the guilt that follows him, about the board meetings where he watches people lose their livelihoods, about the doubt that maybe he should have made different choices 5 years ago. They don't solve anything. Don't promise healing or redemption or happily ever after. Just commit to showing up, to telling truth, to doing the work. In the morning, she makes coffee. He sits at her small kitchen table, looking out of place in the domestic space, but he stays. Drinks the coffee, eats the toast she offers, exists in her space without apology or defense. It's a start. Small, uncertain, built on honesty instead of resolution. Later that week, they attend a meeting with the Ray's Family Foundation. Some members still refuse to acknowledge Joon Seo's presence. Others greet him with cold politeness. One cousin, an older woman named Teresa, looks at him directly and says, "You destroyed my father, I will never forgive you." "I know," Joon Seo says and doesn't look away. "I don't expect forgiveness, I just want to do what I can to help rebuild." Teresa studies him for a long moment. Then, words are cheap. "Let's see if your actions match." It's not acceptance, but it's not rejection either. It's space, dangerous, uncertain space where change might be possible. Amara watches this exchange and feels something settle in her chest. Not resolution, not peace, just recognition that they're all doing the same work, living with damage honestly, trying to build something new without erasing what was lost. That evening, she and Joon Seo walk through the city. No destination, just movement. They pass the construction site where everything changed, now fully built into an office complex. Life continuing in different Tathair small catastrophes. "Do you regret it?" she asks. "Exposing your brother, losing the company." He considers this seriously. "No, I regret that it took so long, that I spent 5 years gathering evidence instead of acting immediately, that my caution cost time and possibly more damage." He pauses. "But the choice itself, no, that was right. Even though it destroyed everything. Everything was already destroyed. I just stopped pretending otherwise." They walk in silence for another block. Then Amara says, "I'm glad you came back after everything. I wasn't sure you would." "I wasn't sure either." He stops, turns to face her fully. This is terrifying, being with you, knowing what we cost each other, trying to build something in all that rubble. I don't know if we can. Neither do I. But you're still here. Are you? The acknowledgement hangs between them, simple and profound. They're both here, both choosing this, both committed to the uncertainty. He takes her hand and they keep walking. The story doesn't end with resolution. There's no moment where everything clicks into place, where the past is healed, where love conquers the damage they've carried and caused. Instead, there's just continuation, two people learning to exist honestly with their choices, building something new without erasing what was lost. Joon Seo continues working on restitution, transferring assets, supporting the families his brother ruined. Some accept, some refuse. He respects both responses. Amara runs her bookshop and the foundation, creating spaces where healing might be possible without demanding it. They see each other twice a week, sometimes more. Never move in together. Keep the boundaries that allow them both space to exist independently. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes the weight of history presses too heavy and they need distance. Sometimes Amara wakes angry, remembering her grandfather's face, and can't look at Joon Seo without seeing the choice made at 22. Sometimes he carries guilt so thick he can barely speak, and she has to decide if she can bear witness to that pain. But they keep choosing it. Keep showing up, keep doing the work. 1 year after the confrontation, they attend a memorial service for Kwame Ray's. It's the first time Joon Seo has been invited to a Ray's family event. Some relatives protest his presence, others allow it with cold courtesy. Teresa, the cousin who challenged him, approaches as the service ends. "Kept your word," she says bluntly. "The foundation is doing real work. Assets are being transferred. It's not enough, but it's more than most would do." "It's not about enough," Joon Seo says quietly. "It's about continuing to try." Teresa studies him for a long moment, then she extends her hand. That's all any of us can do. The handshake is brief, formal, not forgiveness but acknowledgement. Amara watches this small moment off Grace and feels something in her chest ease slightly. Not healing, just space. Room for something new to grow in the damage. That night, back at her apartment, she and Joon Seo sit on opposite ends of her couch. Not touching, just present. He looks exhausted, wrung out from the emotional weight of the service. "Thank you," he says finally, "for letting me be there, for standing next to me. I didn't do it for you." She meets his eyes. "I did it because it was right, because my grandfather would have wanted the work to matter more than the anger. Would he have forgiven me? I don't know, maybe not." She shifts slightly, draws one leg up. "Does it matter? I'd like to think so." He's gone. His opinion can't change what happened or what we're doing now. Joon Seo is quiet for a long moment. Then, because if someone that damaged by my choice could forgive, maybe there's hope for the rest of us. Or maybe, Amara says gently, forgiveness isn't the point. Maybe the point is just continuing to do the work regardless of whether anyone forgives us for needing to. He looks at her and she can see him processing this. Then he nods slowly. "That's harder. You're still choosing it." Both are. Simplicity of the statement belies its weight. They are both here, both doing the work, both committed to living with damage honestly. It's not romantic in the traditional sense. It's not safe or resolved or promising eternal love, but it's real. And right now, that's enough. They don't make love that night. Just sit on opposite ends of the couch, existing in shared space without demands. Eventually, he falls asleep there, exhausted from the day. She covers him with a blanket, watches him for a moment. His face is softer in sleep, younger, less burdened by the choices he carries. She thinks about forgiveness, about atonement, about whether love built in wreckage can ever feel whole. Then she thinks about the foundation, about Teresa's handshake, about the small ways they're all learning to move forward. It's not redemption, but it might be enough. In the morning, they'll wake and return to the work. He'll go to another meeting with former Thorn employees. She'll review applications for foundation grants. They'll exist in parallel, occasionally intersecting, always carrying the weight of what brought them together, and they'll keep choosing it, keep showing up, keep building something honest in the rubble, because that's what love looks like after power dies, not perfect, not resolved, but present. Real. Committed to truth even when truth is painful. Two people standing in wreckage, choosing to stay anyway. That's the story. That's the truth. That's enough. If you've stayed with Amara and Joon Seo through this journey of damage and difficult choices, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever had to choose between doing what's right and protecting what you've built? Drop your perspective below. Hit that like button if this story resonated with you. And subscribe for more complex, honest storytelling that doesn't shy away from the hard questions. Because sometimes the most powerful love stories aren't about healing. They're about learning to live truthfully with the scars we carry.